Hi, Principals Leadership 1. This is second semester in week 20. Our topic this week is turning conflict into cooperation. Everybody deals with conflict in his or her own way, but when disagreement arises, big or small, it means someone isn't happy with the situation. Your attitude in dealing with the issues at hand, whether you cringe at dealing with conflict or instead see it as an opportunity that may inspire something new, can make all the difference in how others regard your leadership. If you can identify the best method for helping all parties at odds to resolve their conflict, the outcome is more likely to be positive for everybody. Even keep this in mind the next time you get in a fight with your parents. Think about how you are really going to deal with a conflicting issue. Let's go ahead and take a look at some quotes. The first one's by William James. He says, whenever you're in conflict with someone, there's one factor that can make the difference between damaging your relationship and deepening it. The factor is attitude. Conflict. What if we were both right? This is from a poster by, I think you say it Louise J, but if I'm wrong, anybody can please correct the way I pronounce that name. Feel free to do that. The topic this week also goes into managing conflict, and I want you to evaluate how you really deal with conflict. You're going to look at your style. To identify how you typically deal with conflict, you're going to be responding in this PowerPoint to the following statements. Each describes a possible way for dealing with a conflict, and next to each statement, I would like you to write a number that most accurately describes your behavior. 0 meaning not sure, 1 is rarely, 2 sometimes, 3 often, and 4 always. Be sure to respond to the statements based on how you actually deal with a conflict and not on how you would like to or think you should. Only use not sure if you really are not sure. So let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of statements. For example, B says, I try to negotiate and use a give and take approach to a problem situation. Let's look at F. I usually say very little or try to leave as soon as possible when I find myself in an argument. Let's continue. I find conflicts challenging and exciting and enjoy the rivalry that they frequently involved. L. I can figure out what needs to be done and I'm usually right. O. I steer clear of creating hard feelings by keeping disagreements with others to myself. So go ahead and I want you to answer these for me. And then what you're going to do is you're going to figure out your score. You're going to total the numbers you wrote down for each group of statements with the letters associated with the following 5 styles of dealing with conflict. Whether you're accommodating, you're avoiding, you're collaborating, you're competing, or you're compromising. For example, if you put 1, 3, and 4 statements for C, K, and N, your total for accommodating would be an 8. If you put 1, 1, and 1 for these statements for F, J, and O, your total for avoiding would be a 3. The style with the highest total is the approach you use most frequently. The style with the lowest total is the approach you are least likely to use. Let's keep going down. I would like you to email your score to Mrs. Brown. You can either copy and paste directly from the PowerPoint presentation and send it to me that way and include your highest and lowest scores. Or if you want to do a little write-out, it's whatever you want to do. Next, you're just going to also give to me in an email what your reaction is to seeing your style. Do you agree or do you disagree, and why? Then I would like you to write a brief answer to the questions in your email, which is coming up next. Managing conflict, what helps when? Competing. The objective is to deal with the conflict one way, which is my way. Sometimes I am this type of a leader. I will be honest. I sometimes deal with this because I sometimes have a stubborn Italian side of me. But anywho, it says a leader who uses a competing or controlling style is aiming to achieve her or his solution, which I'm laughing, but truly sometimes that's the way I feel I can best handle a situation. Avoiding is something I typically don't do, which is stay quiet and remain neutral. A leader who uses this style withdraws from the conflict. The leader aims to maintain a relationship rather than to engage in a disagreement. Accommodating. This one says minimizes conflict or treat it as it's no big deal. A leader who readily accommodates or seeks harmony when there's conflict emphasizes the relationship. Compromising. This is where you meet others in the middle. A leader who compromises identifies which goals are worth keeping or sacrifices, and everyone's interests get considered. I do this as well. I'm sorry. I'm getting lost. Sorry about that. Need to be careful with my mouse. Collaborating is the last one. This is creating a win-win situation for everyone. This is pretty much ideal. A leader who collaborates when there's conflict tries to resolve the issue fairly. To collaborate means to work together, which means basically not one person is right, but that you can agree to disagree sometimes would be a collaborating situation. Skills and tips for resolving conflict. Here's what you could do. Understand the conflict. Consider the circumstances with an open mind and be sure you know what all the issues are. Separate the people from the conflict. Focus on a particular issue involved rather than all the individuals who may feel a need to defend themselves. Be specific. Clearly state what needs to change rather than offering vague requests. This helps everyone involved understand what is expected. Be flexible. Even though you may not tend to deal with conflict a certain way, try developing other styles and approaches. As new situations arise, you'll be better prepared to take the lead. And last is seek advice. Even the best leaders can benefit from an outsider's perspective to manage an issue. Some people are specially trained to help resolve conflict. For example, in our school or community program, we might have peer mediators who can offer guidance, which is what I put you guys in place of. But also parents or guardians, adult relatives, teachers, coaches, community leaders, or other trustworthy adults may also help you to resolve difficult situations objectively. I find best at Branson, the school counselors are pretty top notch, so that would be who I would recommend a student to go to. Here's the next part of the assignment. You are going to be answering the following questions and also sending these to me via email. So go ahead and take a listen to the directions for answering these questions. Let me see. Gaining awareness of how you deal with a conflict can help increase your sensitivity to other people's styles. Often the way you respond to or help resolve team members' disagreements is influenced by previous experiences or habits. How your mom, dad, or other important adults in your life deal with conflict has a big impact on you as well. Keep the knowledge you gained about yourself in the session activity as well as other styles you've experienced in mind when responding to the following questions and statements. Number 1, in what ways will you use your knowledge of different styles or dealing with conflict as situations arrive with your friends and family? Number 2, think about a conflict you experienced as a team member that you wish you had been resolved differently. What would you have done if you had been the leader? Number 3, think about a conflict that experienced as a leader that you wish you could have helped resolve differently. What would you have done instead? Number 4, think about an ongoing conflict you've been struggling with as a leader. What steps can you take to achieve a meaningful outcome now? That's all you have for this week. If you have any questions or concerns, as always, let me know. Thanks.